Hello, my name is Crystal Bucio, and I wanted to share my student showcase project. My student showcase project focused on my first grade students, and we were setting goals to improve learning. I believe goal setting is very important, and it is encouraged to be used in the primary grades, but what I have noticed is that I have not seen too much goal setting taking place in the classroom, so I decided to do my research on what is the best process to help primary students set smart learning goals to improve learning. So in this process, I found that there were two ways that you can go about goal setting. You can go about setting goals through a self, and that is kind of a focus that I had in my project, was where the students create goals themselves and they think about the steps themselves in the process, and they kind of break the steps down into smaller accomplishments along the way. And the second way is by the teacher, and this is where the teacher sets the goals for the students, so the students do not necessarily set the goals, and it is often times more of like reaching a standard, which is also implemented in my project here as well. What I found during my research was 6 secrets to successful goal setting, which is kind of the 6 steps that I took into helping my first grade students set these goals. So the first step was to write clear and measurable goals. The second one was to create a specific action plan. The third step was to revise goals daily. The fourth step was to reflect on the process and how students were doing along the way. The fifth step was an important step just because it includes revising an action plan if needed. And it is important to revise an action plan because along the way, setting the goals and accomplishing goals, there might be a few changes, or you might notice something that you like to add or take away. So it is really important to go back and revise these plans to make sure they are fitting every student and meeting the needs of every student. And the sixth secret, which was my personal favorite, was to celebrate the accomplishments along the way. So the template that I used for my first graders was a simple template, and we kind of split it up into what are the steps that I need to take. And the first step that the students would work on would be I am working on. So they would state what they're working on. They would write a little description or draw a little illustration to remind them what step, what level they are on, because ultimately the students were attempting to become math champions, and there were different levels along the way, and then that is the group of students that I took, and we were setting goals throughout for those different levels in order to become math champions. And to become math champions, it goes back to setting goals by the teacher, because it is ultimately, once students are math champions, that means they have reached all the standards that they need to have reached by the end of first grade. So the levels slowly progressed. Level 1 would be counting forwards, level 2 would be counting backwards, and they kind of progress that way until they are math champions. So going down and working and writing, I am working on, for the first step, lets the students know what level they are on and how, and to start getting into the process of writing the steps to accomplish that goal. So the next 3 steps is where they were able to, by themselves, make up the steps that they wanted to take in order to reach their goal. So they started with the sentence frame, first I will, next I will, finally I will. And this helped them start their sentence, and they were able to write any way that they thought would be easiest for them to reach that goal. And it was really cool to see the students work independently and at this time to write out the steps, because throughout the process they were able to notice that they liked some steps better than others, which was really amazing to see them learn about more about them and how they learn. So the last step is the looking forward by, and this is where the students would go ahead and write a date. And this was kind of a goal for when the students wanted to check to see if they had reached their goal. And of course, at the end, goal completed. And I was able to see improvement in a student that successfully was able to fill out this template that I had for them. This student was able to write down the 3 different ways that she was thinking about approaching and reaching her goal, and she did reach the goal, and I have a sticker down here that showed that the goal was completed. And this student showed incredible growth through the process, because the student started at level 2 and jumped up to level 6 in a matter of 3 weeks. So she was setting goals, accomplishing those goals, setting goals. So it was a repeated process, which was really amazing to see. What I found in my research was that it is important for these primary students to be motivated through the whole process of setting goals and reaching them, which is something that I saw in my students that were in this process. They were very motivated in reaching their goals and wanting to set new goals. Another thing that I saw in my research was that rewards are important for primary age students to help them be motivated on reaching those goals, and that is why I used a sticker as their reward. They would receive a sticker to put on their piece of paper, and they would also receive a sticker to be able to put on themselves, just to kind of show them throughout the day and remind them that they had reached that goal. And the last thing that I found in my research was rapid feedback is super important for the littles, especially because as the littles are working towards accomplishing goals, and if they were unable to accomplish a goal one day when we were working, we would take those 5 minutes of working together and we would use that time to kind of think of different strategies. I would provide feedback, I would provide models and examples of different ways the student could go towards reaching this goal, and it helped them greatly in the process. Overall, what I was able to find through my whole process was that the students were taking ownership of their own learning, which was amazing to see through the whole motivation. Another thing that I was able to see was that it helped students feel accomplished throughout. So every step of the way, the students felt accomplished instead of waiting until they became math champions to feel that reward. They were motivated along the way, and they were accomplished throughout the whole process, which was really amazing. And the last thing was that not only did the students show success in growing as learners, but they also learned a really important skill that can be used further on in their education or even further on in life. So I thought it was really amazing to see how these students grew greatly, and that they really liked setting those goals for themselves in the classroom, and they did great at reaching those goals. So I look forward to seeing more goal setting in the primary grades for students, and to see how it all plans out, to see if it improves learning in different classrooms. Thank you.